Donald Trump actually said our new military will bring back new focus on fitness. I love the idea that Trump is lecturing these guys on fitness. I mean, if that isn't the fondue pot calling the kettle fat, I don't know what is. Listen up, generals. I want to make something very clear. The Pillsbury Dough president wants you to do Pilates. The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military.
A good roast needs no exaggeration when the targets are already living punchlines. Donald Trump and Karoline Leavitt prove reality has outpaced satire. A duo so absurd Jimmy Kimmel just has to. Watch them exist. Trump still clings to the fantasy of being a historic titan, while Leavitt trails behind as his hype woman parroting his delusions with blind confidence.
Karoline Leavitt, his press secretary, the woman who keeps insisting Trump didn't draw this or sign this in 2003, she was 5 years old. She was too young even for Jeffrey Epstein in 2000. So she knows. He knows. They're all... I love that these people are so certain he didn't do this. Well, he's never lied before.
Kimmel targets the president's obsession with being seen as a genius, mocking a man who mistakes shouting for strategy. Trump treats every press event like a reality show finale full of dramatic pauses, wild gestures, and empty promises. Kimmel skewers a leader who confuses applause with policy and thinks retweets equal success, exposing the absurdity of running the White House like a TV set.
The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military. Unfortunately, fantasy is more powerful than reality in this MAGA sphere we live in, which meant it was time for our commander-in-cheeseburger to weigh in on one of the most pressing issues our military faces today, unattractive.
Leavitt gets skewered for her role as an eager apprentice in this political circus. She doesn't just defend Trump, she amplifies him as if his nonsense were holy scripture. Kimmel's humor exposes her. Blind loyalty for what it is. Embarrassing desperation. She echoes Trump's every whim, not with nuance, but with the energy of a college debater who thinks volume equals victory, selling his outbursts as wisdom while ignoring how quickly they collapse under basic logic.
We heard from Erica Kirk. She said she forgives the man who shot and killed her husband. And then right after that, we heard from the president who said, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. How does that square with bringing down the temperature of political violence in this country?
Look, the president is authentically himself. I think that's why millions of Americans across the country love him and support him, including Erica Kirk, who you saw so beautifully was on stage with the...
Kimmel zeroes in on Trump's habit of treating facts like pesky mosquitoes, swatting them away whenever they get too close. It's not ignorance, it's allergy to the truth. Every contradiction, reversal, and denial is paraded as if it were strength. Kimmel mocks his talent for rewriting reality on the spot, likening it to a magician who insists the rabbit is still in the hat, even when everyone can see it's gone. The humor lands because Trump's behavior is already so cartoonish. It barely needs embellishment.
Yesterday, there's this video of what seemed to be garbage bags being thrown out of the window of the Lincoln bedroom. That's the White House. The official response from the White House said it was maintenance work being done while Trump was off on one of his many golf weekends. But Trump is even contradicting his own White House now.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residence upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's...
Leavitt's defense is simple. Repeat Trump's nonsense with a straight face. If he says the sky is green, she insists blue is overrated. Kimmel exposes her as merely a loudspeaker for his ego, recycling old applause lines. The roast works because it reveals the emptiness of her political karaoke.
And he's already figured out where to get the money. Trump today became the first president to sue the New York Times. He's suing the New York Times for $15 billion for defamation. $15 billion. Where does he even come up? These are like numbers my children make up when they're talking about money. I thought he said the New York Times was failing. He thinks they have $15 billion? How much would he sue for if he thought they were...
Trump's vanity is the next target. A president more obsessed with mirrors than legislation, convinced every camera exists to worship him. Kimmel mocks him as a man trapped in his own reflection, mistaking photo ops for leadership. His quest to look powerful only makes him appear weaker. Leavitt plays a cheerleader in this vanity project, selling his image as if it were the Republic's foundation. Kimmel roasts her as a political cosplayer, performing only to make her boss seem less foolish and impossible task.
The president has been hard at work coming up with all sorts of nonsense to distract us from the Epstein files, including, I don't know if you saw this, but he made a major announcement. I am ordering my administration to declassify and release all government records related to Amelia Earhart. Her final chip and everything else about her. Thank you for your attention.
Kimmel highlights Trump's endless appetite for feuds, turning bickering into an Olympic sport. He mocks a president who treats the White House like a bad YouTube comment section. Not strategy, just immaturity on steroids. Leavitt only fuels the chaos, echoing his every outburst with blind devotion, mistaking turmoil for charisma. The humor lands because it exposes two people confusing tantrums for leadership.
He hiding, like there has to be something in there about it. I can't imagine him doing this because he cares about anyone else. This Epstein list, it's the first time Trump didn't want his name on something. There's a lot of speculation, naturally, including from the writer Michael Wolff, who wrote a bunch of books about Trump. Wolff floated the possibility that Trump may have had Epstein killed himself, which, listen, I know he's done a lot of things, bad things, but I don't think Donald Trump ordered a hit on Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason I don't think he ordered a hit is because if he did...
Kimmel targets Trump's lifelong allergy to responsibility, blaming others for failures, spinning conspiracies, and claiming disasters prove his brilliance. He's like a student insisting the dog ate his homework, the printer broke, and the teacher's biased all at once. Leave. It shields him with patriotic slogans. Try and turn blunders into triumphs like a carnival barker selling broken goods. Kimmel shows his devotion doesn't make Trump look strong. It makes the whole act look pathetic.
Trump announced the suit this morning. He wrote, "Today I have the great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times, one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country. The Times has engaged in a decades-long method of lying about your favorite president, me, my family business, the America First movement, MAGA, and our nation as a whole. The New York Times has been allowed to freely lie, smear, and defame me for far too long, and that..."
Kimmel skewers Trump's warped sense of patriotism, treating the flag as a stage prop in rallies, as performance art with rehearsed gestures and empty slogans replacing real service and sacrifice. Leavitt echoes the spectacle with blind devotion, selling slogans as if they were sacred truths. Kimmel mocks the hollowness of branding patriotism, portraying Trump as a man who craves monuments, but will be remembered with memes, who dreams of libraries yet ends up in blooper reels of failure wrapped in delusion.
Any we may have heard of, by the way? 7 wars. Last week it was 10 wars. Now it's 7. Tomorrow it'll be 15 wars. This guy is ending. He ended Star Wars. I don't know if you heard that. He did. Or Mark Hamill. Had to move on to other things. Listen, I have an idea of how you can get people to stop talking about releasing the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files.
Kimmel mocks Leavitt as the curator of Trump's collapsing myth, polishing the facade while the foundation crumbles. She's like a tour guide in an empty museum, selling tickets to nothing. Trump is portrayed as a showman who traded governance for spectacle, mistaking noise for leadership. His supposed greatness collapses under its own theatrics, leaving only fading applause. Leavitt's role is reduced to a warm-up act for his tantrums.
Trump says the Times is run by a bunch of lefties. He claims they're a mouthpiece for the Democrats. And I have to say, I did do today's Wordle, and I don't know if you did, but he might be right. Besides how ridiculous it is, this might be one of the funniest legal documents I've ever seen. It's quite a tongue bath. One page lists Trump's, quote, hundreds of history-making media appearances, including WrestleMania 5, All My Children, Ghost Can't Do It, 2 Weeks Notice, Days of Our Lives, Miss USA, Miss Universe, The Ali G Show, Marmalade, and much.
Her loyalty was never conviction, but an amplifier for Trump's insecurities, echoing nonsense into a cultish chamber no one else took seriously. Kimmel shows how they turn politics into parody. Every speech a sketch, every slogan a recycled tagline. Trump supplied the absurdity. Leavitt broadcast it. The result was a surreal routine fit for late-night TV. Trump imagined monuments, but will be remembered as a blooper reel, while Leavitt, once dreaming of shaping history, is reduced to a footnote for selling nonsense as brilliance.
This is all another elaborate, made-up Democrat plot to distract us from the historically awesome job he is doing.
I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from two people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
We are almost at the I never met anyone named Jeffrey Epstein part of this story.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars.
That's a lot of...
Kimmel shows how their delusions didn't elevate them. They magnified the absurdity. The harder they tried to control the narrative, the more ridiculous it became until laughter was the only response. The roast works because comedy, not outrage, reshapes perception. Trump, grandiose yet fragile, and Leavitt eager yet forgettable, are exposed as performers posing as leaders. Instead of triumph, they're remembered as theater gone wrong. Their bid for legacy reduced to punchlines. Industry won't stop replaying.